aircrafts like the F-16 fighter jet. NATO's involvement in training Ukrainian pilots lays the groundwork for the effective deployment of these jets. However, in the current conflict, it may not be Ukrainian pilots at the controls of these F-16.
Welcome to TFI Global, the antidote to mass delusion.
The conflict in Ukraine, once a central focus of international attention, now teeters on the brink of conclusion, with only isolated resistance remaining. The situation evolved dramatically when it became apparent to Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky that victory was unattainable without substantial financial support from the United States and the European Union. This external aid, crucial for Ukraine's war effort, dwindled due to a confluence of factors: political shifts in the US following upcoming elections, an economic downturn across European nations, and a growing sentiment among the populace against continued support for Ukraine. In a strategic move to salvage some semblance of triumph, President Zelensky attended the World Economic Forum to propose a peace accord. This proposal, however, bordered on the absurd from a traditional diplomatic standpoint. It demanded that Russia withdraw from the territories it had seized and compensate Ukraine for damages incurred during the conflict. This marked a rare instance in modern history where a nation facing defeat imposed conditions on its adversary. Russian President Vladimir Putin responded with disdain to Ukraine's proposed terms. He dismissed the peace accord, underscoring its unrealistic demands. Putin's reaction was not just a rejection, but also a stark warning. He intimated that Ukraine would suffer severe and irreversible consequences should it fail to approach future negotiations in a more submissive and realistic manner. As the US elections approach, President Joe Biden is acutely aware of the political implications of Ukraine's unconditional surrender. Recognizing the risk of a significant defeat for the Democrats at the hands of Trump-led opposition, Biden has taken a decisive step to alter the course of the conflict in Ukraine. In a strategic move, he has requested Denmark to transfer 19 American-made F-16 fighter jets to Ukraine in the second quarter of 2024. This decision marks a significant shift in the Biden administration's approach to the Ukraine conflict. Previously, the US had approved the transfer of F-16s from both Denmark and the Netherlands to Ukraine. This move represents a departure from earlier caution, as the US had initially hesitated to send F-16s directly to Kiev. The initial reluctance stemmed from a concern about being perceived as an active participant in the war, rather than a supportive ally. Kiev had persistently sought F-16s, recognizing their potential to significantly bolster its defense capability. The F-16 fighter jet, renowned for its speed, agility, and effectiveness in combat, is one of the most widely used and lethal aircraft in modern aerial warfare. Its deployment to Ukraine is expected to have a considerable impact on the dynamics of the conflict. This development indicates a more assertive stance by the Biden administration in supporting Ukraine, reflecting the changing geopolitical landscape and the urgency of bolstering Ukraine's defense capabilities amidst ongoing hostility. The decision to equip Ukraine with these advanced fighter jets is a clear signal of Biden's foolhardiness to supporting a protracted war that has only one end result possible: Russian victory. President Joe Biden's earlier pledge to Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky, promising US assistance in training pilots for F-16 fighter jets, has yet to come to fruition. The shortfall is part of a broader context of challenges facing Ukraine, even as it receives these advanced aircraft. Despite the potential boost in capability that F-16 jets offer, several factors suggest that their impact on the military situation in Ukraine will not be beneficial. In fact, it will be quite the opposite. One of the primary obstacles is the practical difficulty of launching F-16s from Ukrainian soil. The country's military airfields have been diminishing both in number and operational capacity due to the ongoing hostilities. This reduction limits the options for basing and operating these advanced jets effectively. Furthermore, the existing Ukrainian airfields lack the necessary technical capacity and specific requirements to support American jets. F-16s are sophisticated aircraft that demand extensive infrastructure, including specialized maintenance facilities and technical support systems. These requirements are not currently met by the existing Ukrainian air bases. Another challenge is the training required for pilots and technicians. Operating and maintaining F-16s is a complex task that requires extensive training, typically conducted in English language. This language barrier adds an additional layer of complexity to the training process. The length and intricacy of this training mean that it could be a long time before Ukrainian forces are fully capable of utilizing these jets. Moreover, Ukrainian airfields and related infrastructure require significant repairs and upgrades to accommodate F-16s. The current state of these facilities is inadequate for the demands of modern fighter jets, necessitating a substantial investment in refurbishment and modernization. Plus, sitting jets will be targets for Russian missiles. Finally, there are specific challenges related to adapting F-16s to the conditions in Ukraine. This includes meeting the runway requirements and other logistical needs unique to the operational environment in Ukraine. These challenges cannot be addressed in time to ensure that the F-16s can be employed effectively and safely in the Ukrainian theater of operations. So while the provision of F-16 fighter jets to Ukraine by the US represents a significant development, on paper, the actual impact of these jets on the conflict will be limited by practical and logistical challenge. The need for extensive infrastructure, specialized training, and adaptations to the unique operational requirements of the Ukrainian military context will kill the plan in the crib. Ukraine's military strategy is increasingly dependent on NATO support, particularly in air power. This strategy might include utilizing pilots from NATO member states such as Poland to operate advanced aircrafts like the F-16 fighter jet. NATO's involvement in training Ukrainian pilots lays the groundwork for the effective deployment of these jets. However, in the current conflict, it may not be Ukrainian pilots at the controls of these F-16s. Instead, there is a notable possibility that pilots from Poland or other foreign nationals potentially granted expedited Ukrainian citizenship could be enlisted for this task. This approach would leverage the expertise and experience of pilots already proficient with NATO standard aircraft, circumventing the extensive training period required for Ukrainian pilots. But which country will bell the Russian cat remains to be seen. Additionally, Ukraine is considering engaging technical specialists from third countries for the crucial task of jet maintenance. This plan acknowledges the sophisticated technical support and maintenance that F-16s require, which is beyond the current capacity of Ukrainian technical crews. By drawing on the expertise of foreign specialists, Ukraine aims to ensure that these advanced fighter jets are kept in optimal operational condition, enhancing their effectiveness in the ongoing conflict, again setting target for Russian missiles. The transfer of F-16 fighter jets to Ukraine marks a pivotal and complex moment in the ongoing conflict. These aircrafts are not just advanced in terms of conventional warfare capabilities, the potential to carry nuclear weapons introduces a significant and sensitive dimension to this conflict. This aspect of the F-16s elevates the strategic stakes, signaling to Russia that Ukraine, while not possessing nuclear weapons itself, is now operating machinery capable of such deployment. This development is poised to shift the perceived balance of power in the region. It serves as a clear indication to Russia that Ukraine has access to formidable military capabilities, albeit indirectly, through its support from NATO countries. Importantly, this move could be interpreted as an act of mindless aggression, implying that Ukraine is now positioning itself as the belligerent party and not merely as a nation, bolstering its defenses in a highly volatile environment. The potential introduction of nuclear-capable systems into the conflict brings with it grave considerations. Even a limited nuclear exchange, a remote yet conceivable scenario given the nature of these weapons, poses catastrophic risks. Ukraine, already beleaguered by significant losses in resources and territorial control, faces the grim reality that any escalation to nuclear warfare, however unlikely, could result in unprecedented destruction. This situation underscores the dire consequences of escalating military capabilities in the region and highlights the precarious balance between deterrence and provocation in a conflict that has already exacted a heavy toll on Ukraine and its people. Someone get Zelensky out of Kiev before there is no Ukraine on the world map.